What's up, guys? Sub-Zeric here, back for another VOD review. This is going to be a YBY1 VOD review. First one we're doing on him on the new patch. Really curious to see how he approaches this patch and comps and everything with all of that, because he was an absolute beast on the last patch. I'd also like to do a quick shout out to Tactor. This is a guide website where I'm going to be posting a lot of guides. Last week, I posted a cool guide on Sentinel Ahri. Today, I'm going to be posting a guide based on the comp that YBY1 plays in this video, so I'll have a link to that in the description. I'd also like to say, please just click the like button on the guide. It helps out a great deal. So yeah, please click that like button. And yeah, I'll have a link to the guide in the description down below, so you guys can all go check it out and get some extra information on this comp, because this is it's a banger one. I think look, he plays Pentakill this game. I'll get that out of the way. I mean, you probably know by the thumbnail. But I'm really curious to see how YBY1 plays around this comp, with it being one of the strongest comps in the game. Already seeing, yeah, he prioritizes the cannon here. He says, I already have this Mordekaiser. I'm already thinking of potentially playing around Pentakill. Doesn't even have any interest in holding on to potentially that like Olaf pair. He's just gonna be like, I want to hold on to these super fan units as much as possible, because I know that there's a very high likelihood that I'm gonna be angling towards this comp. Augment wise here, ooh, we get escort quest as an option. We already have a pretty strong, it's really crucial to do what YBY1 is doing here. Also, notice that he picked up the Evelyn headliner, the KDA Evelyn headliner. I think this headliner, especially with the BT, might be like back into the meta. Now that we have Evelyn and we have this potential escort quest, I feel like we could play a really strong win streak opener. And yeah, a lot of these people aren't playing the strongest of openers. People with Metabolic Accelerator definitely gonna be playing weaker boards, so we can definitely get an escort quest on them. This Clear Mind person, down to Common Augment, yeah, he's just gonna rip that immediately. Picks up a Lilia as well that he can play onto this board, which is really nice. Doesn't quite have Superfan yet, but yeah, you can just level for the Mordekaiser here. Pop the item here. He's gonna go for the JG, actually. I was looking at Hodge potentially, because it's a really strong item onto potentially a Kali later, but JG also another really strong item for Karthus, and also probably slightly better right now, because of the fact that you get the scaling with like a tank item and a damage item. Picks up Echo here, who is another just amazing unit to put on your board. I'd be curious to see what he ends up doing with this Giant's Belt. Oh, and he's just going to play the, yeah, he's going to play the Superfan over the Echo. Echo is a lot of synergies on this board, but getting the Hodge onto Eve, I think, is, yeah, a really high priority. So we can just play Echo and level up and then continue to play this board for now. And ooh, this is actually, like, this guy's board we're fighting is very strong. I think this fight could have potentially very well been a Hodge diff, because they have a really strong board. I assume we're going to sell that Kennen. Yep, and we get to make 10 here. We get to make 10 at 2-2, because Escort Quest is a very good augment. Then we can just double level for this Echo here, and our board is insanely strong. But yeah, I'm curious to see if he thinks about summoning this belt somewhere, potentially onto like the Echo. It's probably strongest right now on the Kennen. The problem with summoning on the Kennen is we will likely play Kennen late game. You don't necessarily have to, though. Echo is a little bit more cuttable late game, because you can just get out Mordekaiser for him. And yeah, he's already looking at potentially slamming this belt onto Echo, but says, you know what, this fight is fine. I don't need to slam belt to win this fight. It's a little bit closer than I thought, though. Ooh, yeah, he's going to end up with that belt there, which I don't really love, because you're not getting the true damage value onto the Echo. So yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of that play. It's also, he put it onto Gnar, right, which is a unit that you're probably going to be holding on to later. So yeah, I'm kind of surprised that he makes that play. Item slam-wise, you could go for something like a Morello. You could just go for like a Warmogs. Looks like he's not going to prioritize any kind of healing reduction. He's just going to go for Warmogs. I guess the other option is just to not slam anything. And yeah, like, look already, he has to replace this Gnar. Yeah, I definitely think he should have placed it onto the Echo there, because you're going to want it there. The only thing is maybe we're just going to be keeping these units in forever. If you were to play like an Akali plus... yeah, and he's just gonna make the Warmogs here. If you were to play like an Akali plus Ahri comp, wow. Wait, his camera is so much cleaner now. that was so funny. He just wiped it off, and it looked like he was like all foggy before, and now he looks so clear and beautiful. But yeah, I was gonna say, if you play like Ahri, Akali, you will probably keep this Echo and this Kennen on your board till late game. Wow, he's just gonna go for the level here to get a Mumu in. I wonder who it was that was in his pool. I guess we might see if there's someone in his pool. I mean, he needs to win this fight for sure. It's a ton of gold represented here. I think this board he didn't need to level versus. They're rich get richer, but it looks like someone in his pool was scary enough. I mean, this is pretty instructive. Let's go back and look at his scout real quick. because he definitely scouted someone and then said, I need to level here. And it's kind of very important, actually, in a spot like this. He scouts this board. Their metabolic accelerator. I'm not fair. Yeah, it's this board. This is the board that he scouts and says, I need to level to beat this. And it's a pretty reasonable level in this spot, right? This guy's triple item Corki with 4 disco in. They're spoils of war, so they don't have combat aug. But he sees that board and says, I need to level here. This is what the best TFT players do, is they level in spots like this dependent on their matchups and who they are fighting. Because if you just level here for no reason, and like this guy was in your pool and then someone else really weak was in your pool, then you're just trolling. Like you're just wasting 2 gold for no reason. But he scouts there, he sees that really, really scary Corki board with basically eventually what's going to be like BIS onto Twisted Fate sitting on the Corki, really, really solid Corki items and the 4 disco in, and says, my current board could actually lose to them if fight RNG is poor, if like my Evelyn ends up getting hit by the Corki bomb. So I'm just going to level here, guarantee my win streak. And yeah, I mean, winning this fight is, it's not only 2 gold, well, it's 3 gold, right? Because 1 gold for winning, and then 1 gold for continuing your, or it's 5 gold. It's 1 gold for winning, 2 gold for continuing your streak, 2 gold for continuing your streak on minion round, and then it's another 3 gold for escort quest value. So winning that fight is actually worth, what did I say? Like 8 gold? 8 gold to win just that fight. So it's an absolute, and it's worth all of the future gold for continuing your streak, right? Because like if we had lost our streak there, then we can't play for 6 streak here. But yeah, he's actually just going to level up here as well, just straight to level 7 on 3-1 to try to preserve streak there. I wonder if he had to do that there. It looks like he didn't scout that hard. I wonder if it was actually necessary to do this level here, but looks like, you know, he thought that it was good enough. Interesting augment choices here. I know a lot of people have started defaulting to this this augment more. I forget what it is called, Tons of Stats, I believe. And then this other one is sort of like Tons of Stats, but you also get the stats on all your other units. He's gonna go for that one, the Gifts of the Fallen, and just opts for that. We have, ooh, this is a really interesting choice, and he's gonna go for it. True Damage Echo here. So True Damage Echo, definitely like a much stronger unit than that Evelyn. The only downside is that now we have to item hold, say, this Senna instead of item holding the Evelyn. It's probably like the fact that we can move over this Warmogs to the Echo and get the super fan value on it, like, means that this is probably always correct, but it is a very interesting choice. But yeah, the fact that we have super fan in is really, really nice. I assume, well, I guess we can't. Yeah, we can do this. Yeah, we need to get but we need to get rapid fire in for this Senna so that she can actually start doing some damage, because without rapid fire, she's going to be very, very low damage. The Echo is going to be doing a ton of work here. And yeah, even the double Senna, I like this. You could even perhaps tier one of these Sennas. Yeah, I like this a lot, so that you get the true damage value, because this is actually a really, really scary fight versus this guy. They have Yone too randomly. Yeah, we're finally going to lose our streak here versus this guy who I don't even know how they have this strong of a board. But they took blank slate, it looked like. That was blank slate on their augment choices, I believe. Item-wise here, we have tier open. You can go for a Shojin, is probably your best possible slam in this spot. Archangel is also a really solid slam, but we can't pick that up. You could even go like a Hodge. Hodge on Senna to there wouldn't have been a terrible option either, but he opts for the Shojin. It's just the best item for a potential like late game Karthus setup, so we're gonna do that. And he makes it onto the Senna that already has 2 items, really, really crucial, because items in TFT scale with each other, so you want to get to your 3rd item as soon as possible on as many units as possible. So yeah, it definitely looks like we are angling towards a Pentakill game. It's pretty much the only, I mean, you could also do an Ahri Akali game. Those are the 2 options here, Ahri Akali or Akali plus Karthus plus like Diego. So yeah, you could potentially, oh, he's even, this is actually interesting, he's holding on to these disco units. He says it's not too bad of a spot to play disco. I know it's not ideal, but it's not so bad. We have really, really good disco items in the Shojin plus the JG. I mean, they're fine. They're not amazing disco items, but they're decent. And the Warmogs is gonna be great on frontline. And like worst case scenario, we can just put a Warmogs onto our Blitzcrank and say, you know what, it's fine. Like it's well, Warmogs Blitzcrank is awesome. We can put a BT onto our Blitzcrank on the like worst case scenario, and it won't be that bad. I think this is really smart. This is something that YBY1 did a lot last patch as well, where he would just stay very, very open to different lines like this. You know, he would say, I want to maximize the amount of lines I can play from this spot. He never, I feel like, gets lazy and says like, oh, I'm just always playing Pentakill in this spot, because especially in this set, in this patch, oh my god, that's double. Okay, I mean, now we're probably leaning towards that. We hit Pentakill Viego. I wonder if he will pick this up yeah, he is going to go for the Pentakill Viego. There's a Karthus, and now he can just pivot his entire board into this this board right here, and he's going to do it really quick because his name is YBY1, 5 Pentakill, 4 Superfan. Going to put these items here, slam the BT there, slam the Warmogs there, and the question is he going to make anything else from these item components? There's nothing too obvious. I almost want to hold all these, but it's a little bit awkward. And yeah, he's going to pick up the fight win. Beautiful transition from YBY1, but notice, like, and oh, I really like Harm Assist in this comp. I was looking at the stats, and the stats love Harm Assist, and I just think it's so good, right? Harm Assist, I feel like, is so necessary in this meta, actually, when you're playing against other Pentakill people, other TF players who are going to snipe down your backline carry. You kind of really need the Harm Assist to keep this Karthus alive, and then it's obviously also really good on your melee carries, like the Viego, like the Akali, so having that on them is really, really nice. We aren't actually in the most insane of... I mean, our spot's obviously very good, 90 HP. The thing that's really carrying us is our econ from that early escort quest. But the thing is, like, our board isn't actually that insane. We're 1-star almost everything. We have our Viego 2 from the headliner and our Kennen 2 from early game, and that's basically it here. So yeah, definitely looking to find some upgrades. We find the Nico 2, which is nice. I'm curious if he's going to opt to roll a little bit at 4-5, or if he's just going to look to go fast 9. If his name is YBY1, and it is, I wouldn't be shocked if he just decides to go fast 9 from this spot. Also, look at all the Karthuses out of the pool. This is a very, very contested comp. It was already kind of contested in Vietnam before the patch came out, and now I feel like it's just got to be one of the most contested comps of all time. We could take the Spat here, but, like, you probably won't. But it's a fun idea to go for, like, Spat here and try to go Penta Spat. We just need to finish out some of these item components. He's going to look for Chain here, it looks like, for potential... We have the Sword open for potential Edge of Night. There's also, like, Archangel potentials. He's just going to go Titans here. Titans, double Titans Viego. Oh, yeah, I feel like people in Vietnam, they, like, love Titans. I remember watching one of the tournaments, and there's just so much Titans prio. Which, like, I don't know. Maybe I can go and look at the stats again. I'll pull up the stats on the other monitor while this fight comes up, because I believe Titans is not... And this can be instructive as well if you want to know what items are good on what units. This is the Tactics Stat Tools Explorer, so you have to go to Stats and Explorer. I have the premium version, and by premium, I mean I'm paying literally $2 a month, so, like, I don't know. If you can't spring $2 a month, I mean, that's fine, but it's not really the end of the world. Like, you can do this in the normal version as well. Yeah, the Delta on Titans looks horrible. I think if there's one thing we have in North America that we're doing better than a lot of regions, it's item priority. Because, yeah, the stats say Titans Resolve is literally the worst possible item on a 3-item Viego. I'm pretty sure this is a grief to actually go for this item here, and people just go for it because the item looks cool. Compare that to something like an Edge of Night here, which is a much better delta, and this is what you want to look at, the delta, how the unit improves or gets worse with this item. So yeah, I mean, maybe you can make the argument that, like, it's synergized with Gifts of the Fallen or something, but I'm pretty sure this is actually incorrect itemization out of YBY1, and it's just a sort of bias that you know, is occurring with players in this region. I mean, look at the other person. They also have Titans BT Viego, which is so funny. But yeah, I just think it's a mistake, but it's not the end of the world. As you can see, our board is still really, really strong. And look, if everyone else also makes the same mistake, then our board will still be pretty strong. But yeah, a little funny. It's actually, thinking about it a bit more, Sword Quest is probably really, really nice in this meta. I don't know what the stats say on it. Let's do another stats check on that. Because you can use it for early game econ, and then late game, yeah, 4.19, beautiful. You can use it for early game econ, and then late game, you can use it as sort of a bait for, like, the Akali and, like, the Karthus ult and stuff like that. Items here, like I was saying, I really would have liked to find, like, an Archangels at some point for this Karthus. I guess you could go another BT for someone like Akali. These are actually really, really awkward components. You could look for some, like, frontline items. You could go for, like, an Adapticone. I think Adapticone actually tends to be a pretty strong item on backline. Yeah, the Adaptive Helm onto Karthus. You definitely want to finish items onto it. I don't know. Like, you have no healing enemy build for Akali, which is kind of annoying. I mean, I guess you could go BT, but then you're going, like, Static Shiv. Curious to see what he builds here. These items are pretty awkward. I think I would end up going something like Adapticone, like GS Redemption or GS Protector's Vow, but I doubt that's what he's going to make here. So I'm really curious to see his item prio in a spot like this. He is potentially looking at the Adapticone. He's going to go Titans BT blue buff, okay? Yeah, doesn't finish the Karthus items, goes for the Titans BT. This Titans prio is out of control, man. I wouldn't recommend this for your games, but It seems like he really, really loves this Titan Slam to an almost, I don't know, strange degree. In any case, we're 81 HP here. We don't even need to level this round because we're so healthy. We can just sack 2 and then cap out really, really high on 9. This comp does a pretty good job of capping out on 9 because you can play around Yorick really well. He's just a really, really excellent item holder. We can honestly just move these 3 Akali items over to Yorick and be happy with it. I do kind of like the blue buff on the Akali, and the BT is not bad. I just kind of would have wanted to finish my Karthus items, though I think his idea is that he's probably not going to get to Karthus 2 anytime soon with all the Karthuses out of the pool, so it's actually like quite likely that prioritizing Akali items makes more sense here. So I could certainly see it, though I would probably have gone something like, it would have been like Edge of Night Runons, right? Or Edge of Night, yeah, Edge of Night Runons. Like I kind of like that better than Titan's BT, and then you just use the healing from Pharmacist here. I kind of like that better, but whatever. Wait, this is an interesting board. We're fighting level 9. This is the blank slate guy, but they couldn't find a TF2. They just went straight to 9 and just died with 2 TF1s on their board. Kind of unfortunate for them, but such is life here. On Carousel here, we definitely would like to find a Karthus item. Red buff would be fine. Morello's would be fine. I think the stats might actually prefer Morello's, but I haven't looked at them yet. This can be another instructive little stats check. I'll do it on the other monitor so I don't clog your viewing experience with having to have the thing paused. So I'm going to look up Karthus. I'm going to do star level 2 for anyone who's following at home. Item count 3. And then I'm going to go to items. I'm going to look at Delta. And then, yeah, it says Morello is a negative 0.31, and then red buff is a negative 0.0. So yeah, the stats actually like Morello better with the buffs Morello. Yeah, it actually, like, I like how YBY1 has played this game. I like the board that he got to. I love how he played the early game. But it does look like, I feel like NA is a little bit ahead in terms of itemization. Because, like, still building the red buff in this spot as opposed to the Morellos. I'm pretty sure it's always just Morellos here after the Morello buffs. Just because this item is kind of broken now. Also, did he go 9 and not roll at all? He's just sitting 9 here. I'm pretty sure we should definitely roll here for some upgrades. But maybe he thinks his board is so strong that he doesn't even have to roll. I think this is another, like, don't do this one at home, kids. I would definitely roll here to at least find like a Kali 2. Ideally Karthus 2 as well. I don't know how many are still out of the pool. But yeah, like we're going to take a small loss this fight. Honestly, incredible that we didn't even lose this fight very hard. And we're 50 gold, so we might actually just be able to make it 210 here. This Karthus headliner is really nice, but you can't really pick it up, right? So you're going to lose out on your Viego 2-star, and you have no Viegos to replace. So you can't really do this, but it's a bit sad that you can't get it, but that's okay. I mean, we're quite rich. We might be able to level up next round. I assume you just finish out a Mordekaiser item here. Gargoyle looks really, really nice with the buffs to it. Is, you know, static shiv for Shred here. Okay. I mean, Shred on Karthus is definitely solid, is definitely helpful. Why do we have the dummy in the... Oh, we're not really going to middle this dummy. I mean, I guess versus this person, it's fine. But though versus that person with the... I thought there was a KDA Akali person in our pool. The dummy in the middle has got to be trolling versus that person. We're going to fight this Viego person, take a loss, down to 21 HP. We're definitely getting kind of low, but we are going to be able to go 10 here. Pick up the Yorick, pick up the Kiana. We even see a headliner Sona, but that's a bit hard to make work. Like I said, yep, we can just move these Akali items over to the Yorick. Works perfectly. He's even going to get Edgelord in here for the Viego, which is a kind of nice addition here, especially because he's our headliner and he's going to do a lot of work. We're going to fight a True Damage board. True Damage apparently is not dead. This is a True Damage Caitlyn, plus they even have a Zed on their board as well, the True Damage Zed, and we are down to 6 HP, so kind of down to the wire here. Need to start hitting some upgrades very, very soon, or we will surely die. There is the Kane, which is a nice pickup onto this board. We'll see if it's enough to swing this fight. He's got a lot of stuff left to potentially hit here. I would get really, really scared here and probably end up like playing my Akali and rolling here, because the Akali 2 I don't think matters very much. We're going to fight this person's board, and I think this was a clone, so we might be able to save this fight. Our Karthus does get one shot, though. The Viego's trying to save this fight. Oh my god, and he just barely does. We win that fight, and it's a top 3. We'd love to pick up a Yorick on Carousel, and there is one. I think we just guarantee this Yorick here. I'd have to imagine. Yeah, goes for the Yorick here. Wastes as much time for T1 Faker, who looks like he's made a pivot into TFT, which is wonderful to see because he knows it's the superior game. So cool to see a, you know, a little known player like Faker moving into to TFT. I mean, we don't really need, you know, we have enough players in TFT, but you know, like, you know, Faker into TFT is probably pretty decent for the game. Just slam Guardbreaker here onto Akali, perfectly fine. We even have, you know, Executioner for her, so the crit is really, really precious on her. We're fighting a pretty strong disco board. The Wow, this Yorick too absolutely swung this fight. We would have 1,000,000% lost that fight if we did not have this win. It's really interesting that he prefers. I mean, I guess now that we've cut the Gnar, you can't really play the Kiana. It's definitely a unit that you could think about, but yeah, nothing to really be done there. He's actually going to move the red buff over to Akali, which is really, really smart. Where Akali too, this is going to be potentially the last fight. We want as strong a board as possible. So he's going to move the red buff over. Akali really, really good applier for it because she goes and slashes everybody on her way. And it looks like it is going to be the dub for YBY1. Actually, incredible game going down to 6 HP. I'll show you guys the post-match here so you can see all of the comps that everyone was playing. But yeah, I really, really hope you guys enjoyed this video. This was an absolute treat to watch. Once again, I'm gonna have a link down below to a guide for this comp on Tactor, so go check that out. Please give a like to the comp. It helps me out an insane amount, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.